She takes on the world, carries out her plan, to live out her dreams, do it when you believe.
Hey everyone, I'm Natalie MacNeil and you are watching She Takes on the World TV, your weekly dose of soaring inspiration and practical advice for your business and your life. And today's show is a very special show because we are doing makeovers! Not the kind of makeovers that Oprah and her huge beauty team does, but a different kind of makeover. We are going to be doing a mindset makeover today. If you've read my book or you've been following me for a while, you know that powering up my mindset is something that I've worked really hard on. And I consider my daily meditation practice to be a huge catalyst for my success. I really believe that success is an inside job. And so today I am so excited that I have a very special guest, Ms. Gabrielle Bernstein, here to help give you a mindset makeover. Gabrielle Bernstein is the best-selling author of Add More Ing and Spirit Junkie. She was a recent guest on Oprah's Super Soul Sunday, and her latest book is called May Cause Miracles. So let's go to my interview with Gabby now. So hello everybody, joining me today is my beautiful soul sister Gabby Bernstein, who is the author of a brand new book called May Cause Miracles. Got it right here. I've been reading it. It is, oh, there it is. I don't know if there's too much glare to be able to see it. There we go. Had it on my Kindle now and have been going through it as I've been away in Miami and the Caribbean, and it was nice and warm where I was reading it. And now I am in front of my fire because a lot of the book in May Cause Miracles, you sit in your meditation space. It's a guidebook, and so this is where I meditate. So I thought I would get out of the office today and into my meditation space to interview Gabby. So my first interview with Gabby was actually 3 years ago when Add More Ing was coming out. And I just had to read it because there was this girl standing on a skateboard in angel wings. And I thought, I've got to pick up that book. And I've been following her ever since. And Gabby, you've just been the epitome of what taking on the world is all about to us. And I just want to thank you for being here with us today and sharing your light. I'm so excited to have you.
Thank you for having me, Natalie. I adore you. It's wonderful to be back.
Yeah, 3 years have gone by. It's crazy. So I want to start at the foundation of this book because May Cause Miracles uses principles from A Course in Miracles, along with other popular books like Marianne Williamson's Return to Love, which I'm sure a lot of you have read or know about. And I have gone through A Course in Miracles and done it over the last couple of years. And well, I shouldn't say I've done it. It's more of a journey, as you know. And I know other people who always start it and then they put it down pretty quickly because of the language. And it's so transformative. So I just love that you take all the principles and you really interpret them and send them back out into the world in a way that is a lot more fun and I think a lot easier to understand for people. So May Cause Miracles is more of a workbook this time around compared to, Spirit Junkie, which was more of a memoir, which some of you may have read. So Gabby, can you tell us a little bit more about the book and about what it means to you? Like, what was the process of creating this?
Yeah, well, I write books based on what I feel my audience needs at that time. So I kind of tap into the collective consciousness of my readers and I say, what are you ready for now? And when I wrote Add More Ing to Your Life, it was clear that they needed a real simple, hip guide, and they needed it to be in a lexicon that was easy for them to understand. And then when I wrote Spirit Junkie, I felt like my audience was really calling me to share my story and say, okay, well, here's how I became the happiest person I know, and here's how I'm living these truths. And then when May Cause Miracles came to me, it was really clear and obvious that the audience needed a how-to manual. They needed some specific direction and advice. And this wasn't a time now to say, okay, let me just talk more about my experience or let me give you these esoteric thought forms. It was more like, let me tell you what to do. And I think that people that are on a spiritual path, sometimes if they look at a book like A Course in Miracles, they're like, what the hell do I do with this? So I really think that new seekers, particularly when things are so fast and there's so much content and there's so much messaging, people want to be told how to do things. And so I created this like a 40-day course with 3 exercises every day. So it's extremely easy for people to digest and really easy for people to take the next right action. And it's telling the reader what to do, and without being, this is what you have to do, but just saying, if you want this, here's what you do. And if you want what I have here, do what I do, right? And so I took the principles of my own spiritual practice and I put them into a book form. And those 3 steps in every day of the 40-day practice are really just taken from my own daily routine. And so, and they're obviously, as you know, based on the principles of A Course in Miracles and really based on my own spirit junkie philosophies. So it's pretty exciting to be able to tell people, here, go, here are your tools.
Exactly. And I mean, this is for anybody. So it doesn't matter if I know a lot of our audience have been entrepreneurs and they found you, in my book or through the site when I've done interviews with you in the past, and they've said, I've applied a lot of those things to my business as well. So I think whether you are going through relationship issues or you are building a business and trying to get your own message out into the world, this book is really for everyone, which I absolutely love.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the 40-day miracle worker commitment first, because I feel like there's a lot of people who think that miracles are only reserved for a special few, and really they are our birthright, and we all have the capacity to be miracle workers. So what is the first step? What's the first step people need to take?
Well, the first step in every week of all the 6 weeks of the course are the practice of being willing. And we have to really open up to that willingness to see things differently if we're going to allow change to occur naturally. And so I am really seriously emphasizing the practice of willingness in every week. It's the first day of every week, and it's a lesson that cannot be skipped, because you can say, I want to change, but if you're not really surrendered and willing to change, then that change cannot set in.
Yeah. When I first started meditating, the very first time I was in Asia, and these monks just looked so happy and peaceful that I had to get down and do that too. And they welcomed me to do so. And when I closed my eyes, I thought, okay, what the heck do I do now? I don't know what to do. What am I supposed to think about? And the first few times I also got really antsy. So I believe you start your day with an hour-long meditation. And can you share whether there's any structure to that or what you might work through at that time? It's one of the top questions that people wanted me to ask you. Like, what is your routine and how do you start?
First of all, just to be clear, in the book, I only suggest like 3-minute meditations, like 1 to 3 minute meditations. If you want to go longer, you can go to 6 minutes, just because I think a new meditator, the concept of sitting for an hour is unfathomable for people.
Yes.
So I want to be really respectful of that. 3 minutes of really just letting that new meditator begin their practice. Even 1 minute is magnificent. For me right now, I'm in a 41-minute practice where I do a half an hour. I'm also at this time studying Kundalini yoga and meditation. So I've been bringing in this meditation called the SelfWorth meditation, which is really meditation for women to do, and they can hold the energy for everyone around them. I do that for about a half an hour. It's also very helpful for the men in your life. You can pray for the men in your life while you do this meditation. And then I'm doing a 11-minute subtle bodies meditation, which is really wild. It involves really heavy breathing and my arms going up and down, and it's awesome. But these are all based on the Kundalini principles, which in my 4th book, just wait till next year, we'll be talking about this.
There's a 4th book in the works.
Oh yeah, honey, don't worry about that.
All right.
But for the purposes of May Cause Miracles, I really wanted people to just begin a practice of just sitting still. And I have guided meditations. If you go to gabbyb.tv/meditate, the May Cause Miracles meditation album is there. And that accompanies the book. And then there's also written meditations, so the reader can just read themselves through and just guide themselves. But I think that listening to guided meditations is a really powerful way to make sure that you're on the right path.
Awesome. So talk to me a little bit about the F word and why it's so important for the shift in perception that you want people to have while going through May Cause Miracles.
Well, I'm a big believer that forgiveness is really the bedrock of a spiritual practice. And A Course in Miracles is really based on the experience of forgiveness, restoring our thoughts back to love. And so when we forgive our thoughts, when we forgive our past, when we forgive ourselves, when we forgive our family members, our parents, our lovers, when we forgive everyone and everything, then we can really be set free of the ego's false illusions. And so the ego is that voice of fear that wants to hold on to all the negativity, that wants to hold on to the judgment, that wants to hold on to the attack thoughts. And through forgiveness, we can release those thoughts. And each forgiving thought really unlocks that place within us that is that loving presence, that place within us that says, that place that you saw in those monks that were just sitting in stillness, they were really released and they've been practicing the F word. So, you can meditate all you want, but if you're not willing to forgive, then you still have a lot of walls blocking you from accessing your inner presence of peace.
I'm going to shift gears a little bit because I want to talk to you about body image, which was in May Cause Miracles. And you say, for the first 25 years of my life, I was caught up in this type of ego perception of my body. I used my body to gain status. I thought if I dressed my body in a short enough skirt, I could get the attention I sought so desperately. I spent years thinking my body was better than those a size bigger and hating my body for not being a size smaller. I abused it with drugs, food, alcohol, and stress. Worst of all, I abused my body with my thoughts. And when I read that, it was just so powerful. And, it's interesting because when I was asking people what questions they wanted me to ask you, there were so many questions that came up like, oh, what does she eat in a day? And what's her routine for staying in the kind of shape that she's in? And how did she get that body? And she has these rockin' biceps. Ask her how she got those. And I think as a culture, we put so much emphasis on the body. So I would love to know what you think about all of that and what your relationship is to your body now as you've developed your spiritual practice.
Yeah, so for anyone who's looking at me saying, oh, I want that, I wasn't always fit. I wasn't always healthy. I was, as you know, I'm a recovering drug addict. So there was a time when my body was really not in a good place. There's also times in my life when I was way more, was overweight, and maybe I was still considered small, but I was overweight for the size of my body because I was an overeater and obsessive about food. And so I've been to all the other directions of where we've been. I hide the pictures. Those are not the pictures I would share. And the reality is that I believe that when you embark on a spiritual journey, you not only embark on expanding your inner world, but you also embark on really a radical experience of self-respect and self-love. And through my spiritual practice, I have become very, very self-loving. I've been sober off of drugs and alcohol for 7 years. I've been really, really clean off of my binging habits that I had been abusing for many years. I have a very clean diet today. This morning, as you can see, I have an empty bowl, but it was for breakfast. I had a sweet potato. I don't know if that was the best breakfast, but it felt like I needed it. And I had lemon water.
Yeah, that's what I've got right here.
Yay, lemon water.
Lemon water.
Yeah. And I've been off of coffee for 19 days now, and just really trying to keep my container clean. The way that I get muscle in my body is through Kundalini yoga. And I used to be a big gym rat and used to go in and out of the gym all the time. I'm actually canceling my gym membership because I have everything I need on my yoga mat. And that's not for everybody. Some people, I think it would be very, very serving for me to sweat more. So my yoga mat and my trampoline will be my physical routine.
Love
Yeah.
We had a big trampoline at my childhood house, and my parents sold that house a couple years ago, and it's one of the things I really, really miss. I've got to get one of those little ones. But
get a little one, yeah. But I think it's really just first and foremost about self-respect and self-love. Mm-hmm. And so if you are willing to embark on a journey inward, then you can expect that you'll be guided to open up to self-love.
Love that. And the next section of May Cause Miracles that I want to move into is raise your self-worth, raise your net worth, especially because there'll be a lot of entrepreneurs watching. And I work with a lot of women entrepreneurs who have fears around money and their finances. So I'd love to hear some miracle-minded financial advice from you for our audience.
Well, I think one of the big things, and I talk a lot in that chapter about how the ego really takes you down in finances, and the ego's, I need more, and that, I got to get mentality. And so I think the big message throughout that chapter is more of stepping into a service energy. How can I provide for the world? How can I be of high service? How can I fulfill myself and others at the same time? And when we gain that energy of what can I give rather than what can I get, that's when things really begin to shift. When we have that focus on what our mission and our passion is, then the universe conspires. Then what you need will be given to you. And I'm living proof of that. I don't have a degree in writing, but I've authored 3 best-selling books. I don't know how that happened. I think that happened because I said yes to God, and I just said, let's go. And I said yes to that passion within me. And so it's not that there's any lack of hustle, because there's a lot of work that goes into creating and creating abundance, but it's not. A lot of people think it's so. They put so much emphasis on the do, and so much less emphasis on the inner creation that you must be holding and sustaining while you're co-creating your financial abundance. And so I think that you have to really marry the two. The work can't be all emphasized on the to-do list, because then you won't have the energy to support what you're creating.
And you even said, excuse me, in one of your recent videos, the universe is begging to support you.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
Which I love. You just have to show up and do the work on yourself too, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you were recently on Oprah's Super Soul Sunday, which was amazing to watch. I was so happy for you. And you said that spirituality is much simpler than people think.
Yeah.
Just how simple can it be for people?
Well, that's kind of why I wrote May Cause Miracles, was just to simplify and demystify some of the spiritual principles that bog people down. And I think spirituality is really just about getting into the practice of turning in. And May Cause Miracles, though it's a 40-day guide and it has all these steps, really the main goal of this book is to get people into the practice of tuning in and talking to their inner spirit. And it's a daily practice of saying, what's going on in here, rather than what's going on out there. And so that's the simplicity. The simplicity is just making that simple shift of what's happening here rather than what's going on out there. And if you can work in that way where you see the subtleties, then you can allow those subtle shifts to add up. And the subtitle of May Cause Miracles is a 40-day guidebook of subtle shifts for radical change. So a lot of people think, oh, I need to make this crazy change overnight, whereas that's quite the opposite of what I advise. I think that really the real work happens in the subtle shifts. So each moment-to-moment subtle shift creates a larger container that can hold a radical change.
Love that. I have some rapid fire questions for you that I got from all over the Twitterverse and Facebook pages. And so we've got just some really quick questions. Some of them are not spiritual journey related, but the first one is, so from Amanda in Denver, do you ever judge anyone? Like, do you ever walk by a homeless person or someone wearing the ugliest thing you've ever seen and pass a judgment? And she says it's one of the things that she struggles with the most.
Yes, Amanda, I judge people every day and immediately forgive myself and forgive the thought. I think one of the things that we are taught to do is judge, and it's not easy to overcome that behavior. But when we are mindful of that behavior and we witness that behavior and we're willing to forgive ourselves immediately and then forgive the person that we have judged, that's when the miracle can occur. So my answer is yes, I do judge, and then as soon as possible, I forgive myself.
Yeah, and thank you for saying that, because I think there is definitely a misperception among people that, you don't deal with shit anymore because you are Gabby Bernstein and you are the happiest person you know. And I think it's good for people to hear that you still work through this and it's still a journey for you every day, right?
being happy doesn't mean that shit doesn't come up, right? It's like being happy means that you experience your experiences differently. And so, yes, I have the experience of judgment. Yes, I have the experience of attack thoughts. Yes, I have the experience of jealousy and comparison and all the things that people go through. It's just that I've chosen to experience those experiences differently. So when those things come in, I want to forgive myself. I want to transform them. I want to release them. I know how to feel them. I know how to meditate my way through them. And I know how to, most importantly, let them go.
Now, at least a dozen of your fans wanted to know this. Why'd you decide to give up coffee?
Oh, how funny. Well,
everyone's been asking me.
I love coffee. I'm addicted. I'm a coffee addict. I love it. It's like one of the greatest things in the world. I love it. It's a fucking drug. You know, I started to feel like my body wasn't responding well to that much toxicity. And it's not that I don't have any caffeine. I'm drinking green tea, and there's, you know, but about every other day I'll have a green tea. But there was a lot of toxicity, and I felt it, and I was feeling it emotionally, physically. My sleep patterns were off. And then I had sort of a little bit of a psychic intervention with one of my Kundalini teachers who said, I just have to tell you, I'm hearing from the guides that you need to clean up your diet. And I was like, well, diet seems pretty clean. But really, in retrospect, I looked at it and I was like, it's actually not. Like, I might wake up and I could have a cup of coffee and I won't eat for 3 hours because I've just had that coffee. And that's not clean at all. You know, that's quite the opposite of clean. And so it was a really great wake-up call. And I think, just like I said before, you can't make any change happen unless you're willing to make that change. And so I've been trying to get off coffee for 2 years now, maybe even longer, but I finally became willing. And so today is day 19, and I'm very proud.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I'm publicly counting days.
And that must be really hard, especially when you've got, you know, the book coming out and with your schedule and everything. It's
actually easier. I have a lot more energy than I had before. I've never felt better. My skin is better. My energy is better. My sleep patterns are magnificent. I fall right asleep and every single night for the last 19 nights, I've had the best sleep ever. And prior to that, I would have the hardest time falling asleep. Like, I would just, you know, toss and turn. And my fiance would be like, get the fuck out of the bedroom. You know, like, it would really be frustrating. So learning how to, you know, what kind of impact that has had has been really, really awesome.
And speaking of your lovely fiance, Amy in Toronto was asking, does your man meditate with you? Is he on his own spiritual journey? And how do I get my man to meditate?
we pray together. We pray together every morning, and we have. He's not a big meditator, but he's a musician, and he's you know, he's in a band, you know, on the side and stuff. So he has that experience of, you know, he loves art, and so he's very creative. And so when he's doing that sort of right brain stuff, I think that's his meditation. And so and he does have a yoga practice. It's not the same as mine, but it is his yoga practice. And so he's got his own spiritual practice, and as do I have my own, and then it intersects in some places. But I don't think that you need to have your partner be on the exact same spiritual journey as you. I think that you want to have that partner just to be open to your journey and to respect your journey, and they show up and they intersect where they feel comfortable.
Yeah. If I looked in your fridge right now, what would I find?
Onions, carrots, hummus, lemons, lots of cucumbers. I'm eating a ton of cucumbers right now because I have that pitta from that pitta fiery stuff going on with me. So I need to really cool myself. So I just eat like 3 cucumbers a day and juice them. And you would see some soup that I made last night.
Yeah, so you've got lots of the greens, lots of the veggies, plant-based foods. Like, my fridge is always full of kale. And everyone's always like, what are you, a rabbit or something? Like, how do you eat this much kale? But when you're juicing it, it goes so quickly. So, and you're trying to cool yourself, and I've got a fire in the background.
It's more like...
Yeah. Do you have a favorite reality TV show? Or do you watch any reality TV?
TV.
No TV. Awesome. That's amazing. Jimmy Choo or Louboutin?
Louboutin.
Last book you read?
I'm reading it now, and it's one of the best books ever, The Master's Touch. It's a compilation of Yogi Bhajan lectures.
Amazing. Superpower you would like to have?
I would love to be able to broadcast messages even wider.
Me too, yeah. It's a good one. A lot of friends or a small group of friends?
I have a lot of friends.
Yeah. And my last question, my signature question is, what is a day like in your heels? And now, 3 years ago, this was your answer. We'll see how different your life is now from 3 years ago. So 3 years ago, you said, I have very cool days. Before I open my eyes, I turn my palms upward and thank the universe for everything I've been given. I then pray for my day to be guided and turn my will and my life over to the care of my Eng. Then I get up and do my hour-long meditation, check some emails, post a tweet, and review my schedule for the day. I'll often have a few coaching sessions interspersed throughout. I lecture once a week right now, which I absolutely love, in big block letters with exclamation marks. I always hit the gym or jump on the trampoline at some point, and at night I like to cook dinner for my boyfriend, then take a bath with candles and Epsom salts. I love this stuff, and I love my life.
Sounds pretty similar.
Is it pretty similar stuff?
Really that much anymore. I coach like 3 people privately, so it's not that much coaching, but there's a lot more tweeting, maybe a lot more Facebook, but pretty spot on. It's pretty sad. Not much has changed. Not much has changed. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being here with us today. It's always a pleasure to get to interview you for year after year, because you seem to have a book that comes out every year. So I'll expect another one in 2013, I guess, or 2014, since this one comes out in 2013. And I'm just so excited for you. Best wishes with the book launch. And yeah, I'm just thrilled.
Thanks, Natalie. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Have a good day.
Oh, I love her. So thank you so much for watching. And if you liked this interview, please share it with your friends. And we would also like to hear from you. What was your biggest aha moment during this interview? Or tell us what you are going to commit to change today, this month, or this year. You can connect with Gabby at gabbyb.tv or on Facebook at facebook.com/Gabrielle Bernstein. And don't forget to pick up a copy of her brand new book, May Cause Miracles. Thanks again for watching this episode of She Takes on the World TV, and I will see you next time.